Caleb Plant takes on Jose Armando Resendiz. Jermall Charlo takes on Thomas Lamanna tonight on PBC. So, it looks like this is going to be a setup card to try to get Plant and Charlo in the ring against one another later in the year. Tell you the truth, I think this is a bit of a long time coming. I think that, it may be a little bit past, the ship may have sailed as far as setting up Plant and Charlo. I think a couple of years ago was when it was hot, when Caleb slept Jermall. That was the time to make that fight. Not sure if at this point they can gain any traction, but they're going to try tonight. They're going to try tonight with by putting them in with two different opponents. Plant is going to main event against Resendiz, and Jermall Charlo is going to be the co-main event against Thomas Lamanna. If they look good, maybe it'll generate some traction, and I'm sure they'll still make the fight anyway, because at this point PBC has to make whatever fights they can make. But if the fight gains any traction because both guys look good, or there's some hype generated, that would be great for both the fighters and the promotion as well. We'll see how the card goes tonight. Resendiz has 11 knockout wins and 15 victories. He's 15-2. Again, he's rather tough. He's gonna try to I think he's gonna be a bit hungry in this opportunity. He is a Hispanic fighter who fights with that Mexican pride. I look at Plant as probably being a little bit too good for him, but Plant showed some vulnerability and susceptibility early in his previous fight before turning it on and getting a stoppage. So we'll see if Plant now being a bit busier starts the fight a bit sharper, and again looks better than he did last fight. I thought last fight, honestly, there was something impressive about Plant as well. Even though he started slow, I thought that he showed some things after that. Again, I forgot the name of the last opponent, Trevor McCumby. Against McCumby, I thought he showed some things in getting up off the canvas and really fighting him at close quarters and getting him out of there that I hadn't seen before from Plant, at least not having that ability to do that. So for me, it was impressive nonetheless. Charlo, it's just been inconsistent for the past few years, been all over the place. At one time I thought Jermall Charlo was not only a very good fighter, but possibly the biggest threat to Canelo Alvarez at a time when Canelo Alvarez was a very good fighter, and at this point, he's just been very inconsistent, out of the ring constantly, in and out, personal problems and so on and so forth. So I don't know what kind of Jermall Charlo we're going to see tonight against Lamanna. Lamanna has been a guy who's been pretty solid at that medium level, but anytime he steps up, he gets beat. So, hence you don't expect him to really give Charlo any problems if Charlo still is of that level. But, it's still possible, because you don't know what Charlo you're going to get, for Lamanna to step in and possibly cause an upset. Even with Resendiz, let's see. The point of this card tonight is to hype up the future Plant and Charlo matchup. That's what everybody's really, in the back of your mind, that's what we're all really looking at. And I want to know, do you guys want to see Plant and Charlo fight? Has the ship sailed? Or do you agree that the ship has sailed? Or if they look good tonight, will that gain enough traction for it to be a marketable, sellable pay-per-view? I wouldn't mind seeing the fight. I just don't like that, this fight becomes a pay-per-view if they win tonight, because I don't think, at this point, I don't think that matchup is a matchup that's that stellar anymore. It's two good fighters. Listen, it's two guys with a big resume, but like I said, I think especially on the part of Charlo, there's really a lot to be desired, and I think he's got a lot to prove tonight against Lamanna. But let's see. He looked pretty disinterested at the press conference this week. Let's see how it plays out. Plant always seems focused, and he's always got his game face on. And like I said, with Plant, I'm a bit more impressed even of late with the mccumby fight. I know he came up short against Canelo, but I thought it was a good fight. Fought his heart out against Benavidez and went the distance. Something a lot of guys don't do. And like I said, I think he's still a world-class fighter at 168 pounds. I would have probably liked to see him in against somebody else rather than Charlo if he wins tonight. But let's see how it plays out, and let's see what kind of traction is gained. Again, guys, let me know if you guys think Plant and Charlo is the fight to go to after this fight, or if not, who do you want to see these two guys fight after this? That's, of course, assuming they win tonight. Paulie Malignaggi, this is Paulie TV.